In this video, I will discuss with you how to be a good consultant. I'd like to tell you a story about someone in my community who was about to launch a new consulting firm but was on the verge of stepping on some major consulting landmines. Stay tuned, Entrepreneurs Unity Group here with Coveted Consultant. I'd like to tell you a story about a member of my community who was starting a new consulting business, and in our conversation, I was able to help him avoid some major pitfalls. So what happened was he got on my email, he read a blog post, he got on my email list, I asked him how I could help, and he started telling me what he was trying to accomplish with this new consulting business. Probably sounds a lot like you, right? You have a certain expertise that you may have acquired through life experience. Have completed formal education, you may have received certification through a program or been trained in a methodology, but in some ways you are an expert. Being an expert does not imply that you know everything, but it does imply that there is no limit to your knowledge. There are some specific things you understand and know could be useful to someone else. So let's talk about the difference between coveted thinking and conventional thinking, because conventional thinking is boring, normal, standard, and full of errors that can detract from the coveted positioning that you're really after. Let's talk about that in this story. So here's what typically happens when conventional wisdom prevails and you're starting a consulting business. You start to make decisions based solely on cost. If you feel like you have to have them, there are ways to get them done at very little cost, but there are some things that are important to getting your consulting business off the ground. For example, you might think about leaving the office or buying new clothes because you know you'll be presenting in front of people, so you spend a lot of time and energy getting these things done. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do any of these things and run a successful consulting business. Let's move away from conventional thinking and toward the coveted thinking that will position you as the kind of expert you know you are. So, number 1, how much do I give away? That was his question to me. Basically, he understood that he should have an application for clients who want to work with him, and I'll talk more about that in a second, but in that application, he was concerned about how deep he should go. How much did I give away? And there are several methods for consultants to just give away value. We do it in free consultations, over free lunch or coffee, during presentations or proposals, during phone calls whenever the phone rings, and any other opportunity that allows consultants who want a knowledge-based business to just show up and just talk and give enormous amounts of value away, as well as enormous amounts of retainer money away because we're just talking. So my first response to him and my second response to you is to say that I completely agree with you. The deal is that someone comes to you and interacts with you because they have a problem and are looking for a solution. This is where we run into trouble with this question, because we just start talking about where they're going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and 5 years from now. I mean, we can talk for 10 minutes without pausing to catch our breath. Then no problem, that's how you decide how much to give away in order to get people unstuck. The second thing you should be thinking about is what exactly should I sell, and for the person I'm talking about who I was interacting with, there were a lot of things that he could sell. Online marketing involves a lot of different angles in areas, so my takeaway is that you shouldn't overcommit yourself. The same idea applies here. Instead of trying to offer people everything, focus on a few special dishes. In the world of consultants, that looks like we offer ourselves up in productized service. For example, consider your favorite restaurant. Now, what is your favorite meal or dish there? As long as they continue serving that favorite thing of yours, they can eliminate the remaining 80% of their menu. TPS is for transformative productized service, which is essentially what this is. So assuming you know the problem, you go through steps 1 through 5 and at the end it has been addressed. If they have a second problem, you go through steps 1 through 3 and at the end it has been solved. When they complete this procedure, you will have transformed their experience such that they no longer encounter a particular difficulty. This is the transformational phase. The productized part is when you've made it into a system so that it occurs consistently every time you follow the same steps. It's productized, right, and then service implies that they can pay for it. So there's this transformational thing, you know that if they do it they will shift their experience and reality will forever shift, and so you know that it involves a certain number of steps, and so does your client. They know that it's a certain number of steps, so they know what they're committing to, and so then the service part, it's much easier to understand and buy if it's clear. Don't market the whole range of services. Name number 3 that you should be focusing on is exactly how do I attract clients for many consultants. Focus on the top 20% that has the greatest value in it. According to common opinion, you should hit the streets and start doing a lot of these things, including free presentations, lunches, and phone calls. In reality, this amounts to a lot of cold pitching or just chatting and sipping beverages. There is a place for that kind of thing, but what is more crucial to the life and success of your business is that you have a system that you can implement. Here is a basic outline for where to start. You run an advertisement in a publication that is relevant, which leads to an application, where people must describe their situation. If you have the software, you can then follow up with B stands for benefit, where you remind them of a certain benefit. You need some software and a budget to make this work, but the value of this part and the value of thinking about this so early in your consulting business is the idea of selectivity. The second benefit right that corresponds was one of the steps with the link back to the application, benefit 345, etc. Right, so the advertisement leads to an application, and when they register here, then they enter into a follow-up sequence. When they submit the application, you can compare it to one of your services to determine if you can actually assist them. If not, you might email them to let them know that you don't think you can solve their particular issue, and that they should look elsewhere, or that we'd be a great fit to solve issue 2 or issue 3, and that we should consider collaborating. Let's chat on a certain day or at a specific time. The program enables you to accomplish that, so it's not about you trying to portray yourself as a fancy specialist when it's not essential. Instead, it's about assessment and your best customers and prospects. It doesn't waste your time and it doesn't waste their time, so if you take out the time to properly analyze their condition before engaging them in any and all of their time, the people that genuinely value getting to this end goal of being solved are going to value it. I frequently speak with people who have spent a lot of money on this stuff if they lack the resources required to complete it and the clients arrive over here, so that's how you should get things done. The second part, and just look at who you are and consider these major questions in red, will help you avoid a lot of these landmines that waste your time and budget that should be used on getting these things right, especially this thing down here. The conversation that inspired this entire video. If you're not on the blog, there should be a link in the description that will take you to this entire transcript. I try my best to break it down so you can kind of follow the flow because it gives you some more context on how we got here, and I'm sure there's some additional landmines that we were able to point to in our conversation that can help you as well, so go ahead and click the link so you can see everything we talked about and use it. I hope it is useful to you. It does not stand alone and does not advertise itself. It does not attract clients in some mysterious method, a true step-by-step content marketing with your big idea, your transformative productized service that you provide to you, since this is the upgraded model on how follow up an old "he's my girlfriend." Thank you very much for watching the video. Please give us your opinion in the comments. And subscribe and like to make us continue to make more videos in more entrepreneurial aspects.